Welcome back, fellow wanderers of the weird. If you joined us for part one of Edgar Cayce's wild ride through prophecy, you know we covered everything from Atlantis to apocalyptic weather forecasts. And guess what? We're not done yet. Tonight, in part two, we dig into Cayce's strangest predictions about reincarnation, future medical miracles, and yes, the dreaded timeline for Armageddon. Spoiler alert, we're apparently still in the danger zone. He even had things to say about UFOs, global community, and how humanity might one day finally get its act together. Big claims for a man who spent most of his working hours asleep. So, pull up a chair, maybe a notebook, and let's continue exploring the weird, the mystical, and the maybe true world of Edgar Cayce. Reincarnation of Atlantean souls. Cayce believed that many souls from Atlantis were reincarnating in modern times to guide humanity toward higher consciousness. According to him, certain people had unusual skills or affinities that marked them as Atlantean. Were you naturally drawn to the ocean? Obsessed with ancient history? Could you figure out tech before anyone else? Congratulations, you might have an Atlantean past life. For believers, this is both thrilling and validating. You could be lounging on your couch, binge watching reality TV, and still secretly be a high priestess of a lost civilization. Skeptics, of course, roll their eyes, but the idea adds a mystical layer to ordinary life, that maybe you're here for more than just paying bills and scrolling TikTok. It's a recurring theme in Cayce's prophecies. The past is never gone. It's living, breathing, and occasionally influencing your grocery shopping decisions. Modern medical miracles. Cayce's medical predictions were a mix of practical advice and holistic insight. While he occasionally prescribed bizarre remedies, castor oil packs, specific diets, and positive thinking, countless people reported improved health after following his guidance. He was a pioneer in suggesting the mind-body connection long before it became mainstream. To him, spiritual balance and emotional health were just as important as what you put on your dinner plate. Modern alternative medicine owes a nod to his holistic approach, even if mainstream doctors scoffed at some of his more eccentric suggestions. For his followers, Cayce was a healer even while asleep, a man whose couch became a clinic and whose nap became a source of wellness wisdom. Awakening psychic abilities. Cayce predicted that humans would eventually develop latent psychic abilities. Telepathy, clairvoyance, and healing powers would become commonplace. At the time, this sounded utterly ridiculous, unless you were into crystal balls and seances. Today, while the average person isn't walking around reading minds, interest in psychic phenomena, meditation, and intuition has exploded. Apps for tarot, astrology, and meditation are everywhere. Cayce saw a future where humanity recognized its untapped potential, and in some ways, we're slowly heading that direction. Even skeptics might admit that modern society's obsession with mindfulness and intuition echoes his prediction. We're searching for more than just tangible proof. We want connection, insight, and understanding. America as a spiritual leader. Cayce predicted that the United States would one day play a spiritual role on the world stage, not through politics or military might, but by embodying values like freedom, justice, and compassion. Think of it as America, but for your soul. Of course, he warned that failure to uphold these ideals could derail the nation's destiny. If greed and corruption took over, the country's spiritual potential would falter. Fast forward to today, and his prophecy reads as both hopeful and cautionary. In a world full of headlines and turmoil, Cayce's words encourage reflection. What if a nation's true power isn't in its economy or weapons, but in the collective consciousness of its people? Environmental and resource warnings. Cayce repeatedly warned about humanity's treatment of natural resources. He predicted that greed and misuse could lead to environmental disasters. Rivers drying up, forests vanishing, and lands becoming barren. His warnings sound eerily contemporary, especially when you consider deforestation, climate change, and global pollution. He emphasized balance, respect nature, or face the consequences. For believers, Cayce wasn't just foreseeing doom, he was issuing a call to stewardship. Even skeptics can appreciate the universal message: don't mess with the planet unless you want the planet to mess back. The Armageddon timeline. Cayce provided a timeline for significant global upheaval, warning that humanity would experience extreme trials before reaching a higher spiritual age. Wars, natural disasters, and social unrest were part of this timeline, but he consistently stressed that it wasn't inevitable. Humanity could alter the course through moral and spiritual improvement. This prophecy had a dual function. It was both a warning and a roadmap. The world could either stumble into catastrophe or take a conscious turn toward balance and enlightenment. Even if you don't buy the specifics, the idea of human agency in shaping history is a powerful takeaway. Second coming as a spiritual shift. Unlike conventional interpretations of the second coming, Cayce predicted a subtle, ongoing spiritual awakening rather than a dramatic return of Christ. This Christ consciousness would emerge gradually, transforming human consciousness rather than striking with thunderbolts and angels. This version of prophecy feels surprisingly modern. It aligns with contemporary spiritual movements, interfaith dialogue, and the quest for mindfulness. It's a gentle awakening rather than an apocalypse, emphasizing inner transformation over external spectacle. Cayce's subtlety here shows a prophet who wasn't about theatrics, but about change. Change that starts inside. UFOs and advanced civilizations. Cayce also predicted that remnants of advanced civilizations, sometimes interpreted as alien technologies or UFO phenomena, would emerge in the modern era. Some followers link this to unexplained aerial phenomena or ancient advanced tech discovered in archaeological sites. While skeptics might laugh, the idea of humanity encountering previously unknown forces or civilizations resonates with the growing public fascination with UFOs. It's another example of Cayce blending ancient mystery with modern curiosity. Whether you call it prophecy or coincidence, his readings fuel speculation and imagination alike. The rise of global community. Cayce foresaw a future where humanity would increasingly recognize itself as a single interconnected community. National borders, religious divisions, and cultural conflicts would gradually give way to a broader awareness of unity. This aligns with trends in globalization, international cooperation, and the sharing of knowledge through the internet. While the world is far from perfect, the idea of collective consciousness gaining prominence is eerily prescient. Cayce's vision of global unity reminds us that the future isn't just about survival, it's about thriving together. Karma and cause and effect. Central to Cayce's philosophy was karma, the idea that individual and collective actions have consequences that reverberate across time. He predicted that humanity would increasingly confront the results of its actions, for better or worse. From environmental degradation to social inequality, Cayce emphasized that ignoring the consequences of our behavior would eventually force correction, a kind of cosmic accountability. It's a theme that resonates today, where global movements demand responsibility for both local and global actions. Cayce's karma prophecy blends morality with inevitability, reminding us that every choice matters. Peace and the new age. Finally, Cayce envisioned a new age of peace and spiritual enlightenment. After cycles of war, natural disasters, and human folly, humanity would reach a tipping point where compassion, justice, and higher consciousness would prevail. This isn't a quick fix or a one-time event. It's a gradual evolution of society, culture, and individual consciousness. Cayce's followers interpret this as an ongoing process, one we are still living through. The lesson is simple but profound. The future isn't written in stone. Each of us contributes to the outcome, and even small actions toward kindness, understanding, and awareness can help fulfill the prophecy. And so concludes our journey through Edgar Cayce's strangest and most ambitious predictions. From Atlantean reincarnations to cosmic libraries, From environmental warnings to spiritual awakenings, his visions remind us of the infinite possibilities of human imagination and human responsibility. Whether you see Cayce as a true prophet, a dreamer with incredible intuition, or just a man who mastered napping, his legacy endures. He challenges us to look beyond the ordinary, question the limits of the possible, and consider our role in shaping the future. Thank you for joining me on this dive into the strange, the mystical, and the maybe true. Keep wondering, keep questioning, and above all, keep it strange.